Oh my God.
The sun was coming up slowly over the Oregon hills. It was cold, very cold. The kind of morning where you could see your own breath, like the air itself was cold enough to break. At the Valley View Livestock Auction, the gates opened early. Men in dirty jackets and boots started walking through. They came to buy. They came to sell. They came to do business with living creatures, as if the creatures were just things in the back of the auction grounds. Far away from the main action, there was a small pen. Inside this pen stood a donkey. His name was Cisco. Nobody knew his real name anymore. The papers said Cisco, but the workers at the auction never called him that. They just said the brown one, or that little donkey over there. They did not say his name because names mean something. Names mean a creature matters. And nobody at the auction thought Cisco mattered. Cisco was thin, very thin. When he stood still, which he did most of the time, you could count his ribs from far away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. His bones showed through his skin like he was a living picture of what hungry looks like. His coat was not brown anymore. It was the color of dirt, the color of dust, the color of something that had been left in the sun too long and forgotten about. When he moved, dust came off him like smoke. When he stood still, he looked like part of the ground itself. His eyes were the worst part. They were dark brown eyes, big and round, but they did not look alive the way an animal's eyes should look. They looked like they had seen too much. They looked like they had given up hoping for good things. When people walked past his pen, his eyes followed them, but not with hope. Not with the thought that maybe this person would help. His eyes followed them the way you watch someone leave. The way you look at something disappearing. Already gone. The morning was gray. Not raining yet, but the sky looked like it was thinking about raining. The kind of sky that made everything feel sad. Cisco stood in one corner of his pen. He was not drinking water from the trough. He was not eating hay from the pile that workers had thrown down. He was just standing, waiting. His back legs were shaking a little bit. Not from cold, though it was cold. From something else. From exhaustion. From the kind of tired that comes when you have been disappointed too many times. 2 men walked past his pen. They did not stop. They barely looked. One man said to the other, "You want that one?" The other man laughed. No, that thing is done. Look at it." Nothing left to work with. They kept walking. Cisco did not move. He did not even turn his head to watch them leave. He already knew. He already understood. He was the kind of animal that nobody wanted. By 9 in the morning, there were hundreds of animals at the auction grounds. Beautiful cattle, strong horses, young sheep and goats. In the main auction ring, they brought out a young horse, brown and shiny. People stood up. People raised their hands. People wanted it. The auctioneer was happy. The seller was happy. The horse was worth something. That was clear to everyone. That horse mattered. Back in his small pen, Cisco did not know anything about the horse in the ring. He did not know that other animals were being wanted. He did not know that other creatures were going to homes where they would be cared for. He just knew his pen. He knew the same 4 walls. He knew the same piece of ground. He knew that every time someone walked past, they looked away. Every single time, no one stopped. No one even slowed down. No one said anything kind. A worker came to fill the water trough. The man was not mean. He was just doing his job. Fast. He did not look at Cisco. He did not touch Cisco. He just filled the water and left. Cisco watched him go. Then Cisco walked over to the water. He drank a little bit. Not much. His stomach was too used to being empty. Even when food was there, his body did not believe it anymore. By noon, 3 families with children had walked through the auction grounds. One family stopped at a pen with goats. They pointed and laughed. They said things like, "Can we get that one?" And "This one is cute." The children ran from pen to pen, excited about all the animals. But when they came to Cisco's pen, the mother said, "Come on, nothing interesting over here." They walked past without stopping. The smallest child did look at Cisco for 1 second. She saw his eyes. But then her mother pulled her hand and they were gone. Cisco's ribs were showing so much that if you were a painter, you could have counted each one and painted it exact. His back legs were getting weaker. You could see it in the way he stood. He was leaning to one side. If he had to run, he could not run. If he had to fight, he could not fight. All he could do was stand and wait and accept that no one wanted him. That was his life now. That was all it could be. A man in a dark coat came walking through the back section. This was the auction supervisor. He looked at his clipboard. He looked at Cisco. He made a note on the paper. Cisco did not know what that note said. But if he could have read it, it would have said one word. The word that meant a creature had no more chances. The word that meant the end was coming. By 3 o'clock, Cisco had been standing in the same place for most of the day. He had not moved much. He had not made any noise. He had not bothered anyone. He was the perfect kind of invisible. The kind of invisible that means no one will miss you when you are gone. The kind of invisible that means maybe it would be better if you were not here at all. The sun was starting to go down. It was getting even colder. Cisco's breath came out like smoke in the cold air. He was still standing in his corner. His eyes were still looking at nothing. His ribs were still showing. He was still alone. Still unwanted. Still waiting for a future that everyone else had already decided was not coming. He did not know that tomorrow would change everything. He did not know that someone was going to walk past his pen and see something that everyone else had missed. He did not know that one person's broken heart would recognize another broken heart. He did not know that the worst day of his life was actually just the day before the best day of his life would begin. But for now, in this moment, Cisco was just cold and hungry and sad. He was just a small brown donkey that nobody wanted. He was just another creature at an auction where almost every creature is forgotten. He was invisible, and he was waiting for something, even though he had stopped believing that anything good could ever come.
Martin Wells woke up before the sun came up. This was nothing new. He woke up before the sun most mornings. He was 62 years old. He had been waking up early for 40 years. It was just what he did. But today was different. Today he did not want to wake up. He wanted to stay in bed. He wanted to not think about anything. His bedroom was dark and cold. The house around him was quiet. Too quiet. His wife Sarah had died 4 years ago. She died in the same house, in a hospital bed in the living room. He still remembered the sound of her last breath. Some sounds never leave you. Some sounds live in your ears forever. Martin sat on the edge of the bed for a long time. He did not move. He just sat. His hands were big and strong. Farmers' hands, ranchers' hands, hands that could fix things and build things and work hard. But sitting on his bed in the dark, his hands felt useless. They could not fix what was broken inside him. They could not bring Sarah back. They could not make the quiet go away. He got up and walked to the kitchen. He made coffee the way he always made coffee. Strong, black, no sugar. He drank it while standing at the window, looking at his ranch. The Double Pine Ranch. He had built it with Sarah. They had built it together over 30 years. They had dreamed about it, planned it, worked impossible hours to make it real. And it was real. It was beautiful. It was everything they wanted. But now it was just his. And being beautiful was not the same as being happy. As Martin drank his coffee, something came into his head. A feeling he could not explain. Not a thought. A feeling. Like something was missing. Like something was calling him. He did not understand it. He did not try to understand it. He just knew he needed to go to the auction today. The livestock auction. He did not need to buy anything. His ranch was doing fine. His animals were healthy. He did not have a reason to go, but he went anyway. He loaded up his truck and drove toward town. The drive took 2 hours. He drove through land that was brown and dry and empty. The sky was gray. Everything felt empty. By the time he got to the auction grounds, it was almost 9 in the morning. There were many people there, trucks and trailers, men in hats and work coats, the smell of animals and hay and dust. This was a place of business. Everything here had a price. Everything here was about money. Martin did not really like auctions, but he came sometimes. He never knew why until he was already there. He walked through the pens slowly. He was not looking for anything specific. He was just walking, just being there. He looked at cattle, big healthy cows, strong bulls. They were worth good money. He looked at horses, young horses, beautiful horses. People were interested in them. People were bidding on them. They mattered. Then Martin walked toward the back, toward the section where the animals nobody wanted were kept. He did not plan to go back there. His feet just took him. That is when he saw Cisco. At first, Martin did not really see him. Cisco was just a small shape in a small pen. Just one more unwanted animal. But something made Martin stop. Something made him look closer. He stood at the fence and did not move. He just looked. Cisco was small, very small. Even Martin, who knew nothing about donkeys, could see that Cisco was sick or hurt or just broken in some way. His ribs were showing. His coat was dirty. His eyes were looking at nothing. He looked like a creature that had already given up. He looked like someone was keeping him alive, but nobody was keeping him living. Martin stood there for a long time. Minutes passed. Cisco did not move. Cisco did not look at Martin. Cisco just stood in his corner, the same way he had been standing all morning and all the day before, and probably all the days before that. But Martin could not look away. Martin had a feeling, a strange feeling. He recognized something in Cisco. He recognized the sadness. He recognized the heaviness. He recognized the feeling of being forgotten. He did not know why. He did not know how a man and a donkey could have anything in common. But standing there, looking at this small, broken donkey, Martin felt like he was looking in a mirror. He reached into his jacket pocket. He had brought a carrot. He always brought a carrot to the auction. He did not know why. It was just something he did. He had done it for so many years that he never even thought about it. He just brought a carrot. Martin took the carrot out of his pocket. It was orange and fresh. He had cut it that morning from his kitchen. He did not break it into small pieces. He held a hole and placed it on the fence in front of Cisco's pen. Then he stepped back. He gave Cisco space. For a long time, nothing happened. Cisco did not move. Cisco did not even look at the carrot. Martin just stood there, waiting. He was patient. Patience was something he had learned from working with animals for his whole life. You cannot rush an animal that is scared. You cannot make something happen that is not ready to happen. You can only wait and be present and hope that trust finds you. 5 minutes passed, maybe 10. Martin did not check his watch. He just stood there, looking at Cisco, waiting for something he could not name. Then Cisco moved. Very slowly, one step at a time, Cisco walked toward the carrot. He was not walking fast or with confidence. He was walking like he was afraid the ground might disappear. He was walking like the carrot might explode. But he was walking, and that was something. Cisco got close to the carrot. He stopped. He did not eat it. He just smelled it. He stood there and smelled the carrot for a long time. Then, very carefully, like he was picking up something dangerous, Cisco ate the carrot. His lips and teeth worked at it. His jaw moved slow. He was eating one piece at a time. And while he was eating, Cisco looked up at Martin. For just 1 second, for just one moment, their eyes met. In that moment, something changed. Martin did not know what, but he felt it, deep inside his chest. He felt it like something unlocking, something that had been closed inside him for 4 years since Sarah died, suddenly cracking open just a little bit. Cisco finished the carrot. He did not try to get closer to Martin. He did not try to be friendly. He just ate the carrot and then looked away and went back to his corner, back to waiting, back to being alone. But Martin was no longer standing there out of curiosity. He was standing there because he had just understood something true. He was standing there because he knew, with complete certainty, that nobody else was going to buy this small, broken donkey. And if he did not buy him, this creature was going to disappear into a future too dark to think about. Martin looked at Cisco one more time. Then he walked toward the auction office. He had made a decision. He did not know why. He did not know if it made sense. He only knew that he had to do it. He had to do something that meant something. He had to bring this broken donkey home. The auction started at 10 in the morning. Martin sat in the bleachers with a paddle in his hand. His paddle number was 73. He did not plan to use it today. He had not planned to use it at all. He had only come because something inside him had said to come. And now he was here, and he was waiting. The auctioneer was a man named Bob. Bob had been doing this job for 25 years. He was fast and loud, and he did not care about the animals. He just cared about the numbers. He cared about who would pay the most money. He cared about making the sale happen quick so the next animal could come to the ring. Lot number 1, Bob said into the microphone. His voice was loud and did not sound human. It sounded like a robot or a machine. Black Angus cow, 3 years old, good breeding stock. Who will start me at 800? Do I hear 800? People raised their paddles. The price went up. 800, 900, 1200. Finally, a man in a red jacket got the cow for $1,300. Bob wrote it down and moved on. Next animal, next number, next price. Martin watched. He did not bid. He just watched and thought about Cisco in his pen. He wondered if Cisco was scared. He wondered if Cisco knew that his time was coming. He wondered if animals had any idea that they were about to be sold. The auction went on and on. Cattle, horses, sheep, pigs. Each animal came to the ring. Each animal was worth something. Each animal found a buyer. The money changed hands. The animals left. And then the next one came. It was now almost noon. Martin had been sitting for 2 hours. His back hurt from a bench. He was thirsty. He wanted coffee, but he did not want to leave because he did not want to miss Cisco. He did not want to leave his seat and come back and find out that Cisco had already been sold or had gone somewhere else. He needed to be here when Cisco came to the ring. Finally, Bob announced that they were moving to the miscellaneous section. The animals that did not fit neatly into categories. The animals that were harder to sell. Martin's heart started beating faster. This was it. This was when Cisco would come. An old horse came to the ring. Not a valuable horse. A horse that was old and tired. Bob said, lot number 43. Mixed breed gelding. No papers. Who will start me at 100? $100. Do I hear 100? Someone bid. Someone else bid higher. The horse sold for $250. It was quick. It was done. Martin waited for the next animal. Bob looked down at his papers. He looked confused for a second. Then he said, lot number 48. Mixed breed donkey. No papers. Unknown training. No documentation of history. We are starting the bid at $50. Do I hear 50? Anybody? $50 for lot number 48. A worker was leading Cisco into the ring. Cisco was confused. He had never been in a place like this before. The noise was loud. There were lights. There were many people watching. Cisco's head was going side to side. He was trying to understand what was happening. He was scared. Martin looked at Cisco in the ring. Cisco looked so small, so lost, so alone. Cisco looked exactly the way Martin felt inside. Bob said again, $50. Who will start me at 50? Do I hear 50? No one. $50 for this donkey. Come on. 50? No one at 50? Then let's try 45. Do I hear 45 for lot number 48? Nobody was raising their paddle. Nobody cared. The donkey in the ring was not worth anyone's money. The auctioneer did not even look interested. He looked bored. He looked like he was ready to move on to something more valuable. Going once, Bob said, $45. Anyone? No. Going twice. Martin felt something inside him break open. Like a door that had been locked for a very long time suddenly came unlocked. Like something that had been stuck started moving. Like something that had been dead was coming back to life. He raised his paddle. Thank you, Bob said. His voice was not even a little bit happy. He did not care who bought the donkey or why. $45 to paddle number 73. Do I hear 50? Anyone? $50? Going once at 45. Going twice. Sold to paddle number 73 for $45. It was done. In 3 seconds, Martin had bought a donkey. He had spent $45. It was less money than he spent on breakfast most days. It was nothing, but it was everything. Martin walked down from the bleachers with his paddle. A worker gave him papers to sign. They asked for his name, his address. Information about the donkey was written on the papers. Brown donkey, approximately 15 years old. Unknown health status. No documentation. It made Cisco sound like he was not even a real animal. Like he was just a thing. Martin signed the papers. He paid the money. The transaction was over. A worker said, "We will load him in your trailer when you pull it around." Martin went to get his truck and trailer. He was shaking. He did not know why he was shaking. It was $45. It was nothing, but it felt like everything. It felt like he had just decided something that would change his life. He pulled his trailer up to the loading area. Cisco was brought out by a worker. The worker did not pull on Cisco hard. The donkey just followed because that was what he had learned to do. Follow. Never question. Just go where they take you. The worker helped load Cisco into the trailer. Cisco stepped up onto the ramp and into the dark space. He did not resist. He did not fight. He just did it. "He is now," the worker said. "He is," Martin said. He was still shaking. The drive back to the Double Pine Ranch took 2 hours. Martin drove slowly. He kept checking the mirror to make sure Cisco was still in the trailer. He kept thinking about what he had just done. He kept thinking about the fact that he had now promised to take care of a broken donkey. A donkey that nobody else wanted. A donkey that was old and probably had problems that Martin did not even know about yet. But he did not regret it. Not one single second. As he drove, Martin thought about Sarah, his wife. He wondered if she could see him. He wondered if she was angry that he had spent $45 on a broken donkey that he did not need. Or he wondered if maybe she was proud. He wondered if maybe she understood that sometimes you do things that do not make sense in your head, but make perfect sense in your heart. The sun was starting to go down as Martin pulled into his ranch. He could see the main barn. He could see the pastures. He could see the home he had built. It all looked the same as it had this morning. But everything was different now. He got out of the truck and opened the trailer. He could see Cisco in the darkness inside. The donkey was shaking. Cisco was scared and alone. "It is okay," Martin said. His voice was quiet and calm. "You are home now. You are safe now. I promise you. You are safe." Cisco stepped down from the trailer slowly. He walked into the pasture. He looked around at the land. He looked at the mountains. He looked at everything. And Martin stood there and looked at the broken donkey he had just brought home. And he thought about something true. He thought that maybe they had saved each other today. Maybe it had nothing to do with money. Maybe it had nothing to do with the auction. Maybe they had saved each other the moment their eyes met. Everything was different now. Everything was about to change. The first morning Cisco woke up at the Double Pine Ranch, he did not know where he was. He opened his eyes and saw a different sky, different fences, different smells. His whole body was scared, very scared. He did not move. He just stood in the pasture and looked around like he was trying to understand a world that did not make sense. Martin watched from far away. He did not come close. He did not try to touch Cisco or call him. He just put food and water near Cisco and left him alone. This was important. Cisco needed to understand that this place was different, that nobody was going to hurt him. But Martin could not prove this with words. He could only prove it with time. The first week was hard. Cisco did not eat the food Martin left, or he ate it only when Martin was not looking. He did not drink much water. At night, he did not lie down to sleep. He stood in the pasture with his eyes open, watching, waiting, scared that something bad was coming, scared that this was a trick. Martin tried to get closer. One day, he came with a brush. Cisco ran away. Another day, he came with treats. Cisco backed up into the corner of the pasture. Martin never chased him, never got angry. He just came and went, proving by his actions that he was not a threat. By the second week, something small changed. When Martin brought food, Cisco did not run away as far. He stayed closer, not close enough to touch, but closer than before. It was a tiny thing, a very small thing, but Martin noticed it. He understood that Cisco was beginning to wonder if maybe, just maybe, this human was different. On day 10, Martin brought carrots again, the same kind of carrots Cisco had eaten at the auction. Martin did not hold them out. He did not try to hand them to Cisco. He just laid them on the ground and stepped back. He sat down on the grass, far away from Cisco. He did not look at Cisco. He just sat there. For a long time, Cisco did not approach. He watched Martin. He smelled the carrot from far away. The smell was good. The smell meant something. The smell meant maybe the carrot would be okay. Finally, hungry enough to be brave, Cisco walked over. He was shaking. His legs were shaking like they might not hold him up. But he walked over. He ate the carrot. And this time, while he was eating, he did not run away when Martin looked at him. The third week was better. Cisco began to understand the pattern. Martin came at certain times. Martin brought food at certain times. Martin never hurt him. Nobody hit him. Nobody yelled at him. Nobody left him hungry. This was new information to Cisco. This was information that did not match the life he had lived before. One day, the veterinarian came to the ranch. This scared Cisco very much. He thought this might be the moment when bad things finally happened. But Martin was there. Martin stood next to Cisco. Martin touched him gently. Martin spoke in a calm voice. And the vet, who was kind, did her work slowly and carefully. She checked Cisco's teeth. She checked his hooves. She listened to his heart. And then she was done. Nothing bad happened. Cisco did not die. Cisco did not get hurt. After the vet left, Martin sat in the pasture with Cisco for a long time. He did not try to touch Cisco. He just sat there, being present, being safe. Cisco stood near him. Not close, but near, and that was progress. The fourth week, the farrier came to fix Cisco's hooves. This was difficult for Cisco. Someone was touching his feet. Someone was using tools. It was scary, but Martin was there. Martin spoke to Cisco, and the farrier worked fast and gentle. When it was done, Cisco's hooves felt better. Cisco could feel the difference. He could move differently. He could stand different. By the fifth week, Cisco was changing. His body was changing. He was eating better now. He trusted that food would keep coming. His ribs were still showing, but not as much. His coat was starting to look different too. When Martin brushed him now, Cisco did not run away. Cisco stood still. And after a few brushes, Cisco seemed to enjoy it. His eyes would close. His head would hang lower. He would stand there and let Martin brush him for a long time. Martin had started a routine. Every morning, before he did anything else on the ranch, he would go to Cisco. He would bring special food, grain mixed with molasses, a few dried apples, something that showed Cisco that he was special, that he was not just being kept alive. He was being cared for. He was being loved. One morning in week 6, something happened that made Martin cry. Actually cry. He was sitting in the pasture eating breakfast before he went to work. He was sitting and eating, not paying attention to Cisco. And Cisco walked over to him. Not because there was food, not because Martin had called him, but because Cisco wanted to be near him. Cisco walked right up to Martin and stood next to him. And then, in a way that broke Martin's heart into pieces, Cisco put his head down on Martin's shoulder. Martin did not move. He did not want to break the moment. Cisco's head was on his shoulder. Cisco's breath was warm. Cisco was trusting him. Not because he had to, but because he wanted to. Because after 5 weeks of every single day showing Cisco that he was safe, Cisco finally believed it. Martin cried then. Big tears came down his face. He thought about Sarah. He thought about how hard it is to trust again when the world has broken you. He thought about how this small donkey, who had been thrown away and forgotten, was teaching him the most important lesson. That trust is not something that happens fast. That healing is slow. That showing up every single day matters more than big gestures. Over the next weeks, Cisco changed even more. His coat became shiny, a beautiful brown color that had been hiding under the dirt and sadness. He started to run a little in the pasture, not running away, running with energy, running with joy. He started to play with the other animals on the ranch. He became part of the ranch family. But the most important change was in his eyes. The sadness that had been there at the auction was still there a little bit. Trauma does not erase completely. But underneath the sadness, there was something new. There was light. There was hope. There was the belief that tomorrow might be good, that this human would be there, that he was not alone anymore. And Martin was changing too. His mornings had purpose now. His evenings had meaning. His quiet house did not feel so empty anymore because every single day he had something that needed him. He had Cisco, and Cisco had him, and they were healing each other with every single day. 6 months had passed since Martin brought Cisco home. 6 months. That was not a very long time in the life of a ranch, but it was long enough to change everything. Cisco was not the same donkey anymore. When you looked at him now, you could not see his ribs. His coat was shiny and brown and beautiful. His eyes were bright. They still had sadness in them. Sadness does not disappear completely, but underneath this sadness was something new, something that had not been there before. Light, hope, the belief that life could be good. He had become part of the ranch. He walked with the other animals. He ate with them. Sometimes he would stand and look at the mountains like he was thinking about things, like he was understanding that the world was bigger than just surviving. He was beginning to live. But the biggest change was in Martin. Martin's son noticed it first. His name was Michael. He came to visit the ranch one weekend with his 2 children. When he saw his father, he stopped for a moment. He looked at him like he was seeing him for the first time in years. His father was different. His father was smiling. Actual smiling. Not the fake kind that people do when they are pretending to be okay. Real smiling. "Dad, you look different," Michael said. Martin did not say much. He just said, "Come meet Cisco." He took his son and his grandchildren to the pasture. When Cisco saw Martin, he came running. Not scared running. Happy running. He came right to Martin and put his head down so Martin could rub his nose. The grandchildren laughed. They had never seen their grandfather like this. So gentle, so happy, so present. "This is Cisco," Martin said. "He was nobody's donkey. Now he is mine." One of the grandchildren, a girl named Emma who was 7 years old, asked, "Why was he nobody's?" Martin looked at the donkey. He looked at his son. He looked at his granddaughter. And he told the truth. Because people did not see what he could be. They only saw what was wrong. But he is more than his problems. He is kind. He is brave. He just needed someone to believe in him. Emma understood something in that moment that most adults never understand. She understood that being broken does not mean being worthless. She understood that one person can change everything. She understood that love means showing up every single day. By the end of the visit, Emma had spent hours with Cisco. She brushed him. She fed him. She sat in the pasture and just talked to him about things. When Michael left with his family, Emma cried. She did not want to leave Cisco. She wanted to stay and take care of him. Michael understood. He understood that his father had given his family something more than just a visit. He had given them a lesson. 2 months later, something unexpected happened. Martin got a phone call. It was from a school in Burns, the town where the ranch was near. A teacher named Ms. Rebecca had heard about Cisco. She had heard about the donkey that nobody wanted who had become loved. She wanted to know if Martin would bring Cisco to the school. She wanted her students to see him. She wanted them to understand about second chances and trust and how one kind decision can change a life. Martin did not know if Cisco could handle being around so many people, but he decided to try. He decided to believe in Cisco the way he had been believing in him for 8 months now. The day came. Martin loaded Cisco into a trailer and drove to the elementary school. When they arrived, there were children everywhere. Dozens of them. Cisco was nervous. Very nervous. His ears were up. His eyes were big. But Martin was there. Martin put his hand on Cisco's neck. And Cisco stayed calm. They brought Cisco into the gymnasium. There were bleachers on all sides. Children sitting and watching. At first, Cisco was scared. But then something amazing happened. The children started clapping. They clapped slowly and gently. They did not yell or scream. They just clapped. And Cisco understood. Cisco understood that the clapping meant welcome. That the clapping meant he was safe. Ms. Rebecca stood in the middle of the gymnasium with Cisco and Martin. She told all the children the story. She told them about an auction. She told them about a donkey that nobody wanted. She told them about a man who was lonely. She told them about how these two broken things found each other and became whole together. The children listened. Some of them cried. Some of them smiled. All of them understood something important. They understood that the world needs people like Martin. People who see what everyone else misses. People who believe when everyone else gives up. At the end, Ms. Rebecca asked the children, "What did Cisco teach us?" A boy named Tommy raised his hand. He said, "That we can get better. Even if we are broken, we can get better." A girl named Sophia raised her hand. She said, "That somebody needs to believe in you. That makes it okay." And another child, a quiet boy named David who did not usually speak, said something that made everyone quiet. He said, "He is like me. Nobody wanted him. But this man wanted him. Now he is happy. Now he is home." Martin's eyes got wet. He looked at David. He looked at this child that nobody wanted, just like Cisco. He walked over to him. He put his hand on the boy's shoulder. He did not say anything. He did not need to. The touch meant everything. After the school visit, more people came to the ranch to meet Cisco. Families came. Reporters came. Everyone wanted to see the little donkey that had changed so much. But Cisco did not become a show animal. He did not perform or do tricks. He just was himself. He just stood there in the pasture and let people see what healing looks like, what love looks like, what a second chance looks like. Years later, people would still talk about Cisco. They would say, "Remember that donkey at the Valley View auction that nobody wanted? The one Martin Wells brought home." And they would smile, because the story had become bigger than just one man and one donkey. It had become a story about hope, a story that said if you have been thrown away, you can be brought home. If you have given up, someone might still believe in you. Martin never thought about the $50 he spent on Cisco. He never regretted it, because Cisco had given him something worth much more than money. Cisco had given him a reason to wake up in the morning. Cisco had given him love again. Cisco had saved his life just as much as Martin had saved Cisco's life. Every morning, Martin still woke up early. But now it was different. Now he woke up with purpose. He woke up to be with Cisco. He woke up to brush him and feed him and sit with him and watch the sun rise together. And Cisco, the donkey that nobody wanted, had become exactly what he was always meant to be. Not a working animal, not a fancy animal, but a healer, a teacher, a proof that every life matters, that every creature deserves a chance, that sometimes the smallest, most broken things are actually the strongest things of all, because they learn what it means to trust. They learn what it means to be loved. They learn what it means to be home, and they never forget it.